Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. What the hell is going on? What just happened? What just happened? All right, we obviously got a lot to get into. Got a lot to get into. Yesterday I would have tried to go live yesterday after the news came out. Just wasn't going to happen. I've been with a couple of friends that are in town, so it was tough to go make that happen. But we're going to take our time today. We're going to unfold everything that happened over the last, what do you want to call it, 18 hours or so. Significant news around the Los Angeles Lakers and the franchise, and really what happens moving forward with this team and with this organization. I got a lot of good stuff that we're going to get into. I'm going to spend a lot of time also looking at people's comments. So if you guys got some thoughts that you want to throw in, we'll be able to do so as well. We got a packed freaking show. By the way, we also got an NBA Finals game, and I think most likely the end of the regular season here. But we got a lot going on. Let's just say that. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you guys being a part of the channel. If you guys don't mind subscribing to the channel, I'd greatly appreciate that. If you want to consider being a member, $3 a month to be a member. It's a great way to support the channel if you're looking for a way to support the channel outside of just subscribing to the channel. Okay, with that in mind, I got a quote here that I'm going to read off to everybody here real quick. Let me just see here. Okay. Got all this. I'm going to read off the quick quote here, and then we'll take a look at a couple of the comments and then go from there. Here's what we got. Quote for today. Respect other people's feelings, even if it doesn't mean anything to you. It could mean everything to them. I respect everybody's feelings. If it doesn't mean anything to you, it could mean everything to them. All right, good quote right there to get things started. Rundown of the show. Here's what we got going on. You think we'll talk about the ownership change? Should we talk about that? Is that necessary? Okay. The shocking news that went down yesterday. Absolutely shocking news that went down yesterday. The Buss family sells. Listen, maybe there's some people out there. Maybe they saw it coming. Maybe they thought whatever anybody's interpretation of what happened yesterday. I did not. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about really just what is the reason behind this, why maybe we think that the Buss family decided, all right, hey, it's time to hang it up here. By the way, they're still going to have a decent chunk of ownership stake. $10 billion valuation, which we'll come back to here in just a little bit. I want something not to also get lost. The greatest owner, in my opinion, in the history of professional sports is Dr. Jerry Buss. And what he built and that legacy that he built, there's a new chapter in Lakers basketball, and it doesn't happen often. There's a new chapter. There's, I know sometimes we look at a new player come. Luka's part of the Los Angeles Lakers now. He wasn't before. Oh, there's a new chapter to Lakers basketball. The most significant move that you can make, in my opinion, this is one person's opinion, so much of the success of a franchise or a business or a company does come down to your ownership. So we'll talk about what Dr. Jerry Buss and his legacy that he leaves behind. Obviously, the Buss family as well. Expectations from new ownership. This is not some rinky-dink ownership that's coming in. I mean, obviously, a lot of people who are Laker fans, there's a significant of those same fans that are also fans of the Los Angeles Dodgers. If you go look at, if I told you, hey, you go take any franchise you want in any sport, and you tell me what are some of the most successful organizations today, where we're sitting here today, you cannot have a real conversation without bringing up the Los Angeles Dodgers. So we'll spend some time about what that new ownership looks like. It's not apples to apples between baseball and the NBA, but I think there's going to be a lot of similarities of what some of that success looks like. Brian Windhorst had a really, really good kind of thought on what he thinks about the Lakers' future that I want to play for everybody. So we'll spend a little bit of time on that. There were a couple other things that were out there. LeBron on his podcast with Steve Nash talked about, I think the way they defined it was ring culture. And he had some interesting quotes there, kind of some quotes about, the significance of people just basically basing any success on any of these athletes Do you have a championship or not? And if you didn't have a championship, you're a loser. And if you did have a championship, you're king. So we'll get into that. Sammy comes on every Thursday, so he's going to join us at 3:30. He was doing a phenomenal job of just kind of previewing the NBA Finals, and I'm going to have him really focus more on the NBA Finals tonight. It is Game 6. This could be done. Potentially no Tyrese Halliburton. I think the Thunder probably do close it out tonight, but there is an NBA game, so we'll talk about that. I know that's kind of crazy. That seems like the smaller news. A couple things on NBA rumors. You know, this kind of continues with some of the different chatter that's going on around the NBA, and then we're going to call it a day. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you to our partners. Thank you to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. And thank you to our new partnership that will start today, Lexus Santa Monica. Matt Unger and his crew over at Lexus Santa Monica. So we'll start mixing them into the mix as well. Okay, let's get started. A lot going on here. Okay, let me read a couple comments here before we get started. And then we could go from there. Rob and Jeannie are out. It's a matter of time. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that. First off, Jeannie's not going anywhere for a while. And I think that's part of the strategy here and part of the reason why the new ownership group was able to take over. In regards to Rob, he just signed an extension. So I think something there. I love me some John Collins, Max Reed type of role player. Yeah, I got a couple things on John Collins. I saw that stuff from yesterday as well. Let's see what we got here. Fear has two meanings: forget everything and run, face everything and rise. Badass quote right there. Phenomenal quote right there. Okay, let's get started here with the show. Thank you very much for being here. So I start getting some texts. Actually, you know what's funny? I'll tell you guys about the partnership a little bit later, but Matt Unger, who runs Lexus Santa Monica, somebody I've known for really probably 10 years now. I get a text. All of a sudden, I just start getting texts. And I wasn't, I was trying not to look at my phone or anything like that. I was just, chilling with a couple of friends with the kids. I start getting some texts. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Everything is just links. Well, it's links to obviously the Shams story. So Shams put out the story yesterday. And honestly, it took me a while to just kind of have it comprehend. I'm like, I don't understand. What I think it was probably had more to do with anything else, was just the mere fact that I just did not think, which is, I guess I was very close-minded about this, but I'm like, why would I just don't see a world where the Buss family is selling a majority ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers. It just doesn't feel like it's going to happen. How can that happen? You got a franchise. It's within the family. There's so much history there. Obviously, the legacy that Dr. Jerry Buss left behind, the expectations every single year. So it took me a second to fully understand, what do you mean the Los Angeles Lakers, the Buss family, is selling majority ownership? Like, that part just couldn't register. All right. Start reading a little bit more into it. Who are they selling to? They're selling to Mark Walter, and there's a franchise valuation of approximately $10 billion. Can I tell you guys something? When I hear that number, $10 billion, I joined a show, Freddie Coleman, if you guys know, ESPN Radio for a number of years. I got a text right after the news went down, and they're like, hey, can you come on and talk a little bit about this? One of the questions they asked me towards the end, they said, what do you think? I had not read the $10 billion valuation. I'm just giving everybody an idea. They said, hey, the Celtics sold for $6 billion. What do you think the Lakers, I can't remember if he's saying what they're selling for, what are they worth, or something along those lines. I'm not even trying to take a shot at the Boston Celtics. I'm really not. But can we just think here for a quick second? The amount of times a franchise like the Los Angeles Lakers are going to be available and up for sale, it's not going to be very often. And the way the world works today, a lot of these businesses that are getting into the sports industry, they're not families anymore. They're conglomerates. They're these huge corporations. I think what are the assets that the Guggenheim Group, I think it's under TWG Global, whatever company that is that's tied to Mark Walter, these companies literally have their assets that they have and the amount of money that hundreds of billions of dollars. So when I saw the $10 billion valuation, I was on the radio and they were asking me that question. And I said, hey, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm like, I might sound crazy here, but you're going to tell me that the Lakers aren't worth $9 or $10 billion? It's the Lakers. I mean, the New York Yankees don't go up for sale very often. Neither do the Dallas Cowboys. Neither does Manchester United or Real Madrid. Like, think about these just as prestigious of franchises as you can possibly find. They don't go up for sale very often. I'm not actually as shocked about the $10 billion valuation. I think I was just more shocked that the Buss family decided, let's get out of, let's get out of this business. Lakers have owned, or the Buss family have owned the franchise since 1979 when they originally bought the team from Jack Kent Cooke. They purchased it, by the way, for $67.5 million. That also included the Los Angeles Kings and the Forum, the Great Western Forum. Obviously, it went on to be called the Great Western Forum. It wasn't called that when he originally bought it. So the Lakers and the Buss family, $67.5 million. Not only got the Lakers, also got the LA Kings, also got the Forum, and here they are now. They're still going to have, I think, for those don't fully understand. I'm gonna kind of help on this one. It doesn't mean that the Buss family is completely gone, because that is not the case. I've read two different things here, so to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure. I'll take the one that Ramona wrote, her piece. Looks like the Buss family will still keep a minority share of the team, just over 15% for a period of time. I don't know what that means, but for a period of time. For those who want to know, well, how come Mark Walter and his group got a chance to buy it and it didn't go up for sale and it didn't become kind of some open negotiation? Hey, the Lakers are for sale, and every company that you could think of that's got wild assets were obviously trying to make a move to go get the Lakers. Here's the reason why Mark Walter and his group got a chance to do it. They had been a stakeholder in the Lakers since 2021. They purchased Phil Anschutz, who owns AEG, his share of 26%, and they had the first right of refusal to take over and be a majority shareholder. So the reason why this went specifically to Mark Walter, to simplify it, he positioned himself, their company, and Mark Walter specifically. Hey, 26% of the Lakers is available. Cool. We'll go ahead and grab that 26%. But if the Buss family ever thinks of selling, come to us. Let us at least get the first crack at it. And if it works out, then great. They got the first crack at it. And next thing you know, the Lakers are valued at $10 billion. And the chapter of the Buss family will be coming to an end. That's really, it's just the bottom line. And I'm going to spend a quick second on that. And then we can go back and talk about why this ownership. And let me be very frank here of what I think this sale means. I think if you're a Los Angeles Laker fan this morning today, and you're sitting down and you're asking yourself, man, I'd really like to see my franchise and my team compete every single year. I know you can't win a championship every single year. I completely understand that. But I want my squad to be in the mix every single year. I think what just went down yesterday could potentially be one of the most significant days in Lakers history. And I'm not going to get too dramatic and say NBA history, but I'll just keep it at Lakers history. But if you're a fan of another organization, yesterday was not a good day for you. That's how I genuinely feel about this, this deal. And I know what was the Minnesota Timberwolves just sold, and A-Rod's part of their group. I know it might not sound like when a franchise sells and they go to, a different ownership, that it's that big of a deal. I would argue it is the most critical thing. Yes, you want a high draft pick. Yes, you want to make the right trades. Yes, you want, role players and all this. I would argue what happened yesterday is one of the most significant moves in the history of the Los Angeles Lakers. And we'll talk about the ownership group and Mark Walter and everything else, and why I feel that. And again, I mentioned that Brian Windhorst had something to say as well. I think there's some significance to him saying the same thing. Just to go back a little bit to what I just said, I want to seal one thing up here real quick before I start looking forward. The chapter of the Buss family. It's going to be very, very difficult for any ownership in the history of sports to ever be able to accomplish what the Buss family did. And when I say the Buss family, I'm talking about the head of the snake, and I'm talking about the foundation of that family, Dr. Jerry Buss. When he took over that franchise, he knew what he was taking over, and he took it to, a degree and a level that nobody ever thought that anybody can do with a franchise, which, by the way, I think that's what's going to happen now with new ownership. Can't get any bigger. Give them a second. I think they'll find ways to make it bigger. Dr. Jerry Buss, his time and his family owning the franchise since 1979. Clutch Points had something good on X that I'm going to read off here real quick. 604 winning percentage, first in the NBA. 301 playoff wins, first in the NBA. 11 championships since they purchased the franchise in 1979. 6 MVP winners, Magic 3 times, Kareem, Shaq, and Kobe. Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer, and obviously they're trying to continue that tradition as best as they can. I don't care, Mark Walter and the new group that's coming in. The NBA is not set up today to go reel off 11 NBA championships. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But one of the main reasons why I even got into basketball, one of the main reasons why I enjoyed watching Lakers basketball, Dr. Jerry Buss was the foundation of everything. I thought he was as much of a star as any player that was out there. This is going to be, like I said, at least in my lifetime, this is going to be the first time that there's different ownership and things are going to significantly change. And as we kind of look forward to what it looks like and what the Lakers are going to look like moving forward, man, it would be really, really sad to not pay the proper respect to what the Buss family, and specifically, I always say this because, he was the head of the snake, and he had a vision, and then eventually he wanted that vision for Jeannie Buss to take over, and she obviously became and is still the governor of the Los Angeles Lakers. But Dr. Jerry Buss is one of the best to ever do it. And when he passed in 2013, it was just impossible for this franchise to be the same. And if you do look at, since he passed, the Lakers have won one championship. If you go back to 2010, they've won one championship in the last 15 years. Most franchises would take that in a heartbeat. Sure. Yeah. Go ask the Sacramento Kings if they'll take an NBA championship once every 15 years. They would say yes. But the once in every 15 years is a wild, wild drought for the Los Angeles Lakers because Dr. Jerry Buss built these expectations that we're going to compete every single year. So closing the chapter on one of the greatest ownership stakes in all of sports, which is what the Buss family had with the Los Angeles Lakers. And you could start turning a new chapter of what it means with Mark Walter and his group that's going to be taking over the Lakers moving forward with a $10 billion evaluation. Okay, so let me do this here. There's a lot of different places to jump around, and I know that we got a lot to get into, and I got a lot of comments. I'm going to do comments here in just a second. I think it's important to hit on some of these comments, and then I'll start turning the page and talking about why I think this is so significant from an ownership perspective moving forward. Before I do so, shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Thank you to his partnership. If you are ever in some type of a predicament, a wrongful death case, a serious injury, and you need an injury attorney, but you're not really sure where to start. You're not really sure, how does this work? This is an intimidating process. I don't have enough knowledge in any of this stuff. It's a daunting process. Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Help anybody in the state of California. Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. I could kind of simplify it for everybody. There's a website that we created, a URL, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. You could get a free consultation if you just want to connect with somebody. I just want to talk to somebody and figure it out from there. You could go to our website here, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Get a free consultation. I'm happy to help out as well. And, this isn't a partnership where Brad Wallace just came in and threw money, is like, hey, I want to advertise on your show. No, this is a close partner. This is somebody that I've known for 5 years, that was with me when I was on radio, now is with me when I'm on YouTube. So it's definitely a close relationship here. If you'd like me to make a personal introduction, I can do that. Again, if you're in a serious injury, wrongful death case, something along those lines, I'm happy to get the ball rolling and start a consultation. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Okay, let me look at a few of the comments here. Let's see what we got here with the comments, and then we can go. Let's see. The Lakers have returned from the wilderness. Okay. Let's get another one here. Dr. Bus was great. He gave it to Jim Bus, terrible. Then Genie, a bit better, but the kids failed. Let me tell you something that was just never going to happen. I don't think when Dr. Jerry Bus passed, if anybody thought that the kids, Jim, Genie, whatever the case is, right? If anybody thought, hey, they're just going to be able to take this thing over and run it like their dad did. Number one, the NBA isn't even structured that way anymore. I think the way the NBA is structured now, one of the main goals is, can we have parity? There's going to be 7 different NBA champions in 7 years. I don't know when the last time that's happened in the league, but I know that has not happened in a very long time. They were never going to be what Dr. Jerry Buss was. But, and I'm not going to sit here and try to make an argument that they were great, this, that, whatever the case is. They got their championship. I think the one thing that I will say, I think there's a responsibility from ownership that if they're selling the franchise, they don't have to do this, but I'm not surprised that Jeannie Buss did this and the Buss family did this. When you sell your franchise, are you selling your franchise strictly based on numbers and you don't care who takes over? That's fine. By the way, if I'm selling my house, yeah, give me the highest number. I don't really care who's moving in. But I do think that this does not surprise me that not only are they going to get this crazy, absurd $10 billion valuation, which we'll look at it in 20 years and say, hey, can you believe the Lakers only sold for $10 billion? That's just how it works. But I think Jeannie Buss and the Buss family were thinking of, if we hand the keys to a different ownership, is this franchise going to be in even better shape than the way we have it today? And the answer is yes. So I do think there's a little bit of a, responsibility from ownership group to do what they did. And you could say one of the best moves that the Buss family has ever made, not Dr. Jerry Buss. I'm talking about post Dr. Jerry Buss. Did we sell to the right owners? Don't take that lightly, because I do think that the Buss family should get credit of who they sold to. There was when the trade went down for Luka and everybody was going after, the new ownership and Nico Harrison, there were some people like, hey, Mark Cuban, did you take a look at who you were selling this to? Does anybody have any idea who the hell you were selling it to? Because whoever the new ownership group is, they just gave out our legend in Luka Doncic. It does matter also who you sell to, and I think that to me is another thing that you should remember when it comes to the Buss family, is that Jeannie Buss and the rest of the family obviously sold to a significant owner. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the ownership group. Who else is coming in? And I know there's a lot of Laker fans right now that probably have thoughts on the offseason and what does it mean for what the Lakers are going to do in the short term and all that stuff. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know how significant this can be in the short term, but I will tell you, this is where I think most people are thinking about this trade. I'm going to play something here. Maybe you guys know this because I feel like I use Brian Windhorst a lot. Somebody that I love his basketball opinion, number one, and number two, he's also always supported some different stuff that I've been doing. Take a listen here to Brian Windhorst. Windhorst is basically saying, What does this trade mean for the Los Angeles Lakers? What does it mean for the NBA? Here's Brian Windhorst.
I would only suspect that the modernization of the Lakers is about to come. And if I were another team, I would not think this is a great development. I think the Lakers are only going to get more dangerous as an organization with the more resources that are, theoretically here about to be poured into it.
All right, let's talk about that. So, if you pay close attention to what he's basically saying, if you're another team, if you're an organization out there, you're saying to yourself, all right, Lakers are for sale. I hope the wrong owners take over. Yeah, this ain't the wrong owners. It's just not. I'm gonna start giving some examples here, and now I could kind of phase out of the shock of the Buss family selling, and then I could phase out of giving Dr. Jerry Buss the credit that he properly deserves, and somebody that should have a statue outside of Crypto.com arena, somebody that anytime you talk about the Lakers, you should start your if you say, hey, tell me a little bit about the Los Angeles Lakers franchise. You better not get very, very far without talking about Dr. Jerry Buss, obviously the Buss family. But that chapter is going to come to an end, and now this new chapter is beginning. So why has Brian Windhorst come out and say that? I want to read the exact quote here. I'm obviously not going to play it again, but let me get the exact quote here. He said, I think the Lakers are going to get more dangerous as an organization with the more resources that are theoretically here about to be poured into. I'm gonna try to give some baseball comps here because Mark Walter and his group also owns the Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay, so let me kind of do my best here to explain a little bit why this is so significant. Major League Baseball and the NBA are wildly different. You can't do the way you win in baseball, you can't do it in basketball. That's not how the rules are set. And I don't know, is that going to change in baseball down the road? I'm not 100% sure. But if Mark Walter and the Dodgers want to go out there and sign Blake Snell, Tyler Glass now, I'm just, throwing these last couple of years, Tanner Scott, go down the list of all the different players that they want to sign. I'm not even talking about like these crazy. I'm not talking Shohei. I'm not talking any of that stuff. If they just want to add guys to that roster and money isn't a thing, they can do it. They have every ability to do it. They're printing money left and right. But I wouldn't pay attention to the Dodgers as just a team that went out there and just signed Shohei. I wouldn't pay attention to the Dodgers and say, they were able to get Freddie Freeman. I wouldn't just look at them from that perspective. I think when you look at the Dodgers, you have to look at, all right, are the Dodgers just throwing money at everything? Okay. A lot of times, yeah. But are the Dodgers also have one of the best farm systems in all of Major League Baseball? Yeah, they do. A lot of times they have the rankings up there that are, what's the farm system look like? And it's Dodgers are usually in the top 5 when it comes to best farm systems in Major League Baseball. I used to always give this example when I was at 710 ESPN. I would say that the Dodgers are worth 20 million, but they're still going to Nordstrom Rack and saying, yeah, but I could go get these jeans I could go get them for 40 or 50 bucks. Why am I going to pay 200 at Nordstrom's? It's like, yeah, but you're worth 20 million. Why don't you just go to Nordstrom? Yeah, but the jeans over here are 50 or 70 bucks. I could save $125. So that's why I don't go over. That's why I don't go shop at Nordstrom's. What the Dodgers have done is from top to bottom, they have built a business and organization that dots its I's and crosses its T's. And it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to win every single year, but I think most people would understand. The Dodgers are going to be the favorite for how many years? Magic had a quote here when he was talking about new ownership of the Lakers. He said, job well done, my sister. Jeannie Buss for striking an incredible deal and picking the right person to carry the Lakers' legacy and tradition of winning, Mark Walter, my business partner and my friend. Mark Walter is the best choice. He'll be the caretaker of the Laker brand. The proof is in the pudding on what he's been able to accomplish with the LA Dodgers. Mark has been nothing short of a winner, noticing or notching 2 World Series and 11 NL West Division titles in the last 12 years. The Dodgers are really, really good for many, many reasons. One of the significant reasons is the unbelievable deep pockets. However, if you really, really look at the Dodgers, they also cropped their own players. They also went and got Andrew Friedman to kind of get this whole thing started, who was one of the best president of baseball operations, who was sitting in a different market, a much smaller market. Every resource you could think of, the Dodgers are on top of. Um, there's plenty ways that the Dodgers are successful, and there's more ways. I think it's lazy to say, well, the Dodgers are good just because they have money. There are more reasons why they're good. If you told me that Mark Walter and that ownership group left and went to go to the Pittsburgh Pirates in Pittsburgh, give them a couple of years, and I guarantee you they will be, they're not going to be the Dodgers, but they're going to be a good team in Major League Baseball that's trending in the right direction. The Laker piece of this is very simple. You only got a certain amount of money that you could spend in the NBA. And it's not like Major League Baseball. You can go out there and just outspend everybody else. But I think where Mark Walter and his group's going to come in, and I think there's going to be significant changes. Um, the front office, you can spend as much money as you want on it. I'm not telling you that the first thing that Mark Walter is going to go do is he's going to say, all right, who are the best president of basketball operations around the NBA? And then he's going to go start looking around and he's going to say, who's this dude in Oklahoma that has had unbelievable wild success working for the Oklahoma City Thunder? I'm not telling you that's going to happen today or tomorrow. I'm not telling you that Palenka's still not going to get his opportunity and see what he can do from here. But what I'm telling you is kind of what this group will probably do. They'll go spend the most money they probably can when it comes to go getting the smartest brains to go run your front office. They'll have a wild, crazy development system of making sure every draft pick that they get, guys that they develop within the system, how the G League works with, obviously the Lakers from that perspective. They're going to do things that maybe are not flashy moves, but are important moves. They're going to look at today, but also have in mind what 5 years from now looks like. I don't think you can get a more organized, opportunistic ownership group than what the Lakers just got yesterday when this sale was announced. You got the Laker brand. You got teams, or you got players and agents that understand how powerful that brand is. You got teams, or you got agents and players that understand when that franchise is winning, you can't really quantify how important that is to your own individual brand. I think this is a very, very, very significant ownership change that I've seen in a long time. And if we're just using the Dodgers as an example, go look at what the Dodgers were pre sale to Mark Walter and the Guggenheim Group. Look at what the Dodgers are post. That's all comes down to ownership. And that really, I think, is the main point that I'm trying to get across more than anything else. I thought it was a very significant move. Probably not going to happen today or tomorrow, where it's going to, you're going to see all the different fruits of the sale. But over time, their imprints are going to be everywhere, and they will find ways. I'll use one more example from the Dodgers. Now, obviously, I'm using that examples because they literally came from there. This is the same ownership from there. But the one thing that I will say, and I think it's probably the most important thing to say, if you go look at where the Dodgers are sitting today, you have to 100% give the ownership the credit of where they're sitting today. And I think for the Lakers, if they all of a sudden in the next couple of years, and they got Luka there and everything else, they become really, really detail oriented and are back in the mix. And it's not a short term, hey, we hope, we pray we can win a championship or compete for one this year. Sustained success is what the Dodgers have had. You're probably going to see that with the Lakers moving forward. By the way, the Sam Presti thing that I was talking about, the only reason why I was giving Sam Presti as an example is because that's what reminds me of what the Dodgers did from a baseball perspective. They went out and got Andrew Friedman, and I think going out eventually and saying, who's the best mind in basketball. You want to come run the Los Angeles Lakers, and whatever that check looks like, don't even pay attention to it because it literally doesn't matter, because whatever amount of money that we give you is going to be the right investment for our franchise. There is no cap or salary cap on what you pay your front office, and that's where the Lakers are going to obviously go try to take advantage of. Okay, that's a lot there. I know there's a lot there. There's a lot going on. But I do think that it's so significant. It's very, very important that I unwrap the entire thing because I think it's wildly, wildly significant. All right, let's take a quick look here. I know we got a couple different comments. Let me get to a couple of these supers here real quick, and then I'm going to bring Sammy on, who's going to join the show as well. Lakers don't need James. Genie should go too. Yeah, I saw in the story that I was reading. I don't know if you guys saw this as well. Genie Bus. I'm probably not the person to ask about Genie. I'm a fan of Genie Bus, maybe because I've had great, great interactions with her personally. But the proof is also in the pudding. I've said this before, since the Lakers, obviously, since Dr. Jerry Buss passed in 2013, it's not the same franchise. And frankly, if anybody thought it was going to be the same franchise, I think you were setting yourself up to fail. The piece about, let me just see if I see it here. The piece on Genie. Anyways, like I said, Genie's going to be around. Genie Bus will remain the Lakers governor and continue to run the team for at least a number of years. It's very vague. I don't know what that means, so we'll have to wait and see what that eventually means. Seiko, Mark Walters brings injection of capital, infrastructure, expertise, scouting, and human resources that Bus family couldn't. There's a big difference here. One's a family, one's a freaking cash cow, business investment firm. Like, it's just different. Imagine, you take your family and you're like, hey, here's this unbelievable franchise or this unbelievable restaurant. You go run it. Sometimes I think the days of family-owned business and sports, it seems like it's going the other way. Pelinka's job security was based on proximity to Genie. If he continues to fail with deals at the margin, he could get sacked. They're going to have one goal. Thank you for the supers, by the way. There's one goal in this that the new ownership group will have, at least if it's based on what the Dodgers have done. It's all about winning. And if you're not winning, then you're not doing your job. Masai Ujiri, okay, there's another name there. Obviously, give some examples. All right, let me welcome in Sammy Long here. Get Sammy in the mix. Sammy, good morning, my brother. Good morning, my brother.
Alan Sleewa, what's going on, dude? We got a new
going
owner.
on. Lot going on. Lot going on. Yeah, it was so wild. Let me ask you this here, because I know we're going to also get into the NBA Finals and everything else, which seems like such a small storyline now in the big scheme of things. How shocked were you? How shocked were you when you saw that news yesterday?
I mean, unreal. I thought it was fake for a second, but yeah, it was. I mean, it's hard. Like, I'm super stoked for it, but I know, like you were saying, you like Genie Bus. Obviously, what the Bus family has done for Los Angeles and the Lakers has been second to none. But yeah, it is cool.
And not even, and Sammy, just to interrupt you, it's not even LA. It's that brand is so much bigger than just LA. And you've heard the Lakers talk about that. They want to be a global brand. There's only a few franchises that can do that. Lakers are one of them, right? There's a few franchises out there that you go to a Laker game in Atlanta, a lot of Laker fans there. You go to a Laker game and I think now part of this is going to be the international allure as well. See if they can start now with Luka and how much more significant can the brand be in the European markets and everything else.
Well, even like, I know it was the HBO show about Winning Time. Like, it's just amazing what Dr. Jerry Buss did for the game of basketball. How it was kind of, before obviously Magic and Bird, it was kind of this thing that no one cared about, and just to kind of make it a show, make it an event, make it a thing people want to go to. Yeah, it's certainly changed the way the NBA is, but it's exciting. I know I was listening to the show earlier. It's going to be interesting to see if this kind of makes Rob Pelinka make a move fast, because I'm sure, even though I like Rob Pelinka, I think he's done a better job than people maybe give him credit for. Certainly, when new ownership comes in, I think you're gonna want to make a splash to keep your job steady there.
You know what's interesting? I think every market's got to run the way they need to run. Sam Presti Sam Presti in Oklahoma City can't run his franchise like he runs the Lakers or like the Lakers are ran. They're just that they're not a he can't run it the way the Warriors run their business. I think what is really, really and I look at this more from how fans react to it, but also just us watching the game every single day. There's going to have to be, and I hope this is going to be part of the future for the Lakers. How do you take a page from Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder? How do you take a page from look at other organizations and how they're not swinging for the fences every single summer, and it's either you're basically you hit a home run or you just struck out for the ninth time in a row. Like there's no middle ground. It feels like with the Lakers. I think the portion to me that I'm really, really interested in watching is the smaller things, the things behind the scenes, we're not wasting away a second round pick because no, we draft and develop players. Like, I think it's those attention to details that they're boring, but I think it's those attention to details that can separate your franchise from another.
I was reading up on it last night, and it's confusing with the NBA, the salary cap and the tax and everything. And obviously, just because it's not like baseball where you can just go spend more money than everyone like the Dodgers. But I mean, it would affect the Luka Doncic's, the LeBrons. They're already getting paid. That doesn't really affect them. But I was kind of hearing like, would Alex Caruso have gone had Walter been here? Like it's the guys, it's the 3-and-D players that are a little less money that maybe you go into the tax a little bit more simply because you want to keep some role players. That's hopefully what it will change. And I think also the scouting department, things like that, it's behind the scenes. A lot of people don't look at it, but it's exciting when you kind of get a new wave in there. And I think it could attract some free agents also in the offseason here in a couple weeks.
And they have a blueprint. Something I've always said, I'm not the phrase, what is it? Don't hate the player, hate the game. The Dodgers have done things in baseball where you're like, are you kidding me? What do you mean? You don't have to pay this guy till this, that. You kind of shouldn't point your attention towards the Dodgers. You should point your attention towards MLB. It's not their problem, their fault. But that group has done such a good job of taking advantage of every rule that's out there. It's like, okay, well, is there a way we can benefit off this rule, that rule, this rule? That's also going to be kind of interesting to watch. Is this, I was thinking about this yesterday. Do they look at a tax and maybe other ownership that says, guys, we cannot pay that tax? Like, this is absurd. Do they look at that and say, well, maybe that's the cost of doing business. If we paid that tax, can we actually calculate how much that can potentially help us in A, B, C, and D? And if we actually won an NBA championship, what did that do for our revenue? I don't think they're going to just look at things the way the current Buss family's looking at it. Put it that way.
Yeah, and to what you just said, like it feels like the Lakers, whenever they needed to make a big move, you got to credit the Lakers in the sense that they've been able to. I mean, obviously Luka Doncic signing LeBron James, even to a lesser degree, that D'Lo trade where in the middle of the season took them to the Western Conference Finals, felt like kind of all hope was lost, getting rid of Russell Westbrook. The Lakers have to make big swings to compete. It feels like the last few years. And that shouldn't be the case in Los Angeles. It feels like that you should be keeping in-house all these guys, just like the Dodgers do. And to your point, people want to fault the Dodgers. It's like it's not really the Dodgers' fault that they're allowed to defer money. They're taking advantage of a rule that was set in place by the MLB. So I'm super excited for this. I think Walter's going to bring a new kind of energy to the team, and I just can't wait to see his first moves he makes.
And by the way, I don't know how quick it happens. Right. Like, and it's not that I think the ownership group for the Buss family still has a 15% stake, which, by the way, what a unbelievable position, right? It's like you still got ownership in the team. You don't have to worry about the headaches, morning and night of what the franchise looking like. The people are no longer going to be looking at the Buss family and telling them how great they are, how bad they are based on every single move. But you still got 15%.
And you still got courtside seats, so everything's good.
That's not a bad position to be in. Okay, I know we got a lot of comments here, and I know a lot of people want to obviously react to this. Let me get a quick super in here real quick. New owners sign Cam Thomas and Kuminga, LeBron out. Mike is breaking news here. Mike, thank you for the super there, brother. I appreciate you. we'll go back to the news, the sale and ownership and everything else. We'll do that in just a second. There is, believe it or not, an NBA Finals game tonight. Oh, cheers to you. You getting some coffee there?
Cheers. Doing
Cheers.
my sleep in the morning. Got to,
Cheers.
you know.
Cheers. Yeah, thank you for. I'm getting low here. Getting
Are
low.
you out in Solana Beach right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it cloudy this morning?
Yeah, a little cloudy.
Ridiculous.
Clouds, and then
ridiculous weather we have to put up with.
Give it to like 10 a.m. and then there won't be all the fog will be gone and everything else. So there's an NBA game tonight, finals game, and you and I have talked about how we love the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching these games. A lot of guests that I have had on have been huge fans of the finals as well. 3-2 OKC. I don't know what's happened, but as the finals have gone on, my interest is kind of going away.
Yeah.
Does it have to do with the fact that there's 3 days in between?
100%.
What the hell's going on? I don't even remember the last game by the time this game starts.
People 100% agree. The distance between games has absolutely killed this series. And again, you're going to watch. I'm going to watch. I love NBA basketball. I'm going to watch as many games as possible. When it's Lakers Celtics in the finals and you want to space it out 3 games, that's fine. Because the more promotion, the better. The more hype, the more drama that gets built up, that works. Because no one's missing a Lakers Celtics finals game or a Lakers Knicks or a Warriors Celtics. Like that sells itself. It's sexy. You don't have to worry about selling it. For a finals that you knew between Indiana and Oklahoma City, small markets, the casual fan. If I ask my grandma, she knows who LeBron James is. Does she know Tyrese Halliburton is? No. Does she know who SGA is? No. So
she knows TJ McCollum and Casey Wallace.
Exactly. Ben Mathurin's her favorite player.
Yes.
Big fan. So you're trying to sell that to the casual fan already. And then you have 3 days in between. And then it felt like last week there was a little momentum between Wednesday and Friday. There was the most buzz. Games 3 and 4.
Yep.
The Pacers win game 3. Game 4 was a good game,
and it was quick. That was the only time where you had 1 day off in between.
Right. I mean, how do you go from Friday to Monday, and then Monday to Thursday? Like it's just
and Sunday when everybody's hanging out with their families. It's Father's Day. Like throw the game on. Throw the game on. Now, I'm with you that I think there's been a little bit of you already got your challenges in this series. Momentum has been killed every time there's a little bit. You know what this reminds me of? The NBA Finals reminds me of like the reviewing a play. It's like 2 minutes left in the game. Everyone's excited. They're all standing on their feet. And they're like, well, we're going to spend 6 minutes reviewing a play. So by the time you come back, you're no longer excited. That's what the NBA Finals have been so far.
I also think in not take like I love Stephen A. Smith. So this is not about Stephen A. Smith. You take one of the greatest.
Love that. That's a really strong word.
I've always been a Stephen A. fan. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I take it you're not.
Stephen A. definitely wears on me. He definitely wears on me.
Okay, so I get it. A lot of people get worn on. But,
by the way, personally, and every time I've ever come across Stephen A., he's been really, really nice. Used to come on my Lakers talk show. I mean, very, very nice. But yeah. Stephen A.'s got a very strong personality.
He does. I like when he rips the Cowboys. I think it's always fun. And the bit doesn't go cold. But the ESPN desk, ABC, like, what are we doing here? Like Bob Myers and Kendrick Perkins, we go from Shaq, Ernie, Kenny, and Chuck, which is the casual fans. The casual people tune in for it. There are people who don't watch basketball who love watching them on the desk because it's so fun. And then we got these guys. So it's
can I say this? And I mean, this is kind of, I don't think this is breaking news or anything like that. ESPN's had a very, very difficult time finding a click that works. And that is like, hey, this is our show. They've had a very difficult time doing that. And is what it is, but it's, for as powerful as ESPN is, they've had that. I think they've had a difficult. I think in the NFL, you could say, yeah, no, they killed it in the NFL for a long time, and they've had people that you're like, yep, I love, this specific. It's Berman, it's this, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
I think they never really had that in the NBA. Doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, I feel like all that going into the games being spaced out, small markets, people. Still, a lot of the time, even though the Pacers have fought well, kind of expecting the Thunder to just take over and win.
Yep.
Halliburton being hurt, game time decision. It's just going into it. look, if they force a game 7, I think people will tune in because casual fans, I think it's fun to watch a game 7, no matter if it's hockey or baseball or basketball. But yeah, I'm curious what the ratings are for tonight.
Okay, let's talk about the actual game. It's 3-2 now. I think you have to have, it's got to be one or the other. Honestly, if it's Tyrese Halliburton, hey, I can go and I can contribute, then obviously you got to have Tyrese Halliburton there. I think if it's, hey, I can't be who I am, I don't know how much they can have him in there. This is it. It's game 6. You got to have at least, maybe you have people who are less talented, but you're definitely going to have, you got to have 5, 7, 8 players that are healthy enough to go. What's a world where we're sitting here and the Pacers force a game 7? What's got to happen?
Benedict Mathurin. I feel like I say it every time I come on your show. The Pacers do have something up their sleeve for if Halliburton's hurt. They're one of the rare teams that do have kind of an ace coming off the bench, and he's very inconsistent. He dropped 27 points in game 2, or 18 and 27 in game 3. So really good in games 2 and 3, been kind of quiet the last couple. But he is a young player out of Arizona, really talented. He was the 6th overall draft pick. And he has the ability to take over a game, as we saw in game 3 against the Pacers. He's really the reason why they won that game, because Siakam's going to be getting doubled. They're not going to, Siakam's not going to be able to go off tonight because they're going to send everything, Dort, Caruso.
As they should, because he's the one scorer there is. Nesmith was also the kind of hero in the Knicks series. People that game 1 where they came all the way back and he had the shot that went up in the air with Halliburton. Nesmith was the guy that hit like 6 consecutive threes at the end of that game to do it. And if Halliburton's going to play, he hasn't been super aggressive this series. I bet he turns more into a passer. In game 5, they had 23 turnovers, which led to 32 points for the Thunder. And to the Pacers' credit, they actually came back without Halliburton, and they made it a 2-point game when Siakam hit that shot. But I mean, it felt like every time they were driving in the lane, trying to kick it out, and they were getting the ball stolen. That can't happen. I think Mathurin and Nesmith have to have the games of their lives if we're talking about a game 7. What happens if OKC wraps it up tonight? So they finish this thing off in 6 games, and you got all these 22 to 26-year-olds that just got their first NBA championship, and that is not how basketball typically works. You shouldn't be that young and already getting a chip. What's it mean moving forward? If they can check this one off the list, have a 68-win season, and then cash it in with an NBA championship. You got an MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You have draft picks. I don't know how many draft picks they have, but obviously they're looking fine from that department. What's it mean if OKC handles business tonight and is in this position moving forward?
I think obviously they're going to be threat for years to come. I might be in the minority. I don't think that just because they win, this is a dynasty. I think the West is seriously too talented for there to really be a dynasty right now. And
raises the bar for a lot of other teams as well that know they have to go get more to compete with them.
I mean, Oklahoma City, all the credit in the world. I don't want to take anything away from them because if they win tonight, they certainly earned it. It was a phenomenal season, and then they go win it. But everyone did forget. I mean, Denver took them to a game 7. And I think that Denver team actually had a lot of holes in it, and they didn't have a coach. So not that I think Denver is going to be a dynasty, but Denver's always going to be there. I really am not being a homer. I think the Lakers are going to get a center, and Luka has that championship pedigree being there. The Lakers are going to be a problem. Where's KD going? San Antonio's coming up. I don't know if I really believe in Houston. Minnesota's always kind of a pain in everyone's side. There's a lot of teams that OKC might be the favorite out of all of them, and they probably will heading into next year, and as they should. I just don't know that if they were in the Eastern Conference, yes, I think this team would be set up for the next 5 seasons to be going to the NBA Finals. I just think in the West, it's too much of a gauntlet, and I don't know that just because they win this year means that they're going to be there every single season.
What happens, you think, in the Eastern Conference if this? How many teams are aggressive because they feel like the East is open? Like you just said, right? That if Thunder were in the East, they would be the favorites every single season moving forward. They're not. They're in the West. Teams will try to compete. How open is the East?
I was trying to yesterday think about who should be the favorite next year. I don't think it's Boston because Tatum's hurt all year, and
that's it. That answers that.
And it seems like they're blowing it up. Holiday trade rumors, Brown. The Cavs, everyone's like, well, they had the best record last year in the East. They clearly don't have enough. I don't think they have enough scorers or shooters. And the way to kind of get that is they're going to have to blow up the Mobley Allen kind of piece. The Pacers are going to be good, but I don't know that I see dynasty with the Pacers. The Knicks' new head coach. I mean, it sounds crazy. Like Orlando and Miami are sitting down at the bottom. If Miami were able to get Kevin Durant, which he's on the list for, if I'm Kevin Durant, I'm going to Miami because that's the way that I can actually get to a finals. I don't think I'm getting to a finals with Houston. Maybe San Antonio would be pretty tough. And then Orlando, oddly, they get Wagner back. They got Banchero. They just got Desmond Bane. Like that's a pretty quiet team next year. But it's kind of wide open. I mean, it'll be a fun season next year to see who gets there. But I don't think there's like a solid favorite that, is so much better than everyone else.
All right. Hectic day today. Hectic day yesterday. But great stuff, Sammy. I appreciate you giving your opinion on new ownership there and then also previewing this NBA Finals game. So by the time you and I chat next Thursday, who knows where the hell the NBA is? Who knows what's happened by then? Trades that have gone down. I have no idea what happens by then.
Real quick, I know we got to get out of here, but what is your opinion on the draft being right after the NBA Finals? I was having a debate with someone about this yesterday. I didn't know there were such strong opinions about this.
Do you? I haven't really seen an issue with it. What's the problem?
I like it too, but I
like it.
I was talking to people who were like, it's ridiculous. They don't space it out. They don't give the NBA Finals any breathing room. Like it was. I didn't know if it was kind of a hot take to like that the NBA Finals is right after it.
No, to be honest with you, I would argue that the NBA right after the NBA Finals ends still keeps your attention. And not too many sports can do that. I mean, in the NFL, it's like the Super Bowl ends and how much time before, I know the NFL is king, but how much time until you're talking about the NFL? NBA, you crown your champion, you're already in the NBA draft, then free agency starts, then summer league starts. I mean, they're kind of, in my opinion, I think they're holding your attention almost to August.
I totally agree. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was debating people and I was like, that's not right.
You won that debate. So I'll just tell you.
Because the Sleevo agrees.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we won that debate. All right, brother. Thank you for coming on, and we'll catch you next Thursday. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, everybody.
All right, that is Sammy Long right there. Good work, Sammy. Good work, Sammy. Yeah, it's funny to kind of listen to everybody's opinions, and this is gonna listen. There's a lot to kind of unpack when it comes to an ownership change. I mean, ownership change. This is not a small thing. It's obviously a big thing. And I know a lot of people want to weigh in on it. So I'll be looking at everybody's comments here in just a second. Before I do so, let me welcome in a brand new partner to the Sleevo Show here and on Hoops Talk. Let me welcome in Lexus Santa Monica. All right, let me give everybody kind of a little bit of a background here. Now, one of the things they are going to be promoting is the all-electric Lexus RZ. You could go to lexussantamonica.com. Where'd this partnership coming from? Why are they partying with me here? A couple different reasons. Number one, I have been driving Lexus I've been driving Lexus now for over 15 years. So I'm very loyal to the Lexus brand. I believe in the brand. I believe if you're going to go buy a car, I always think of long-term. I'm not getting a lease every 3 years or whatever the case is. And you could do it your way. And you don't have to stick to my strategy. But with Lexus, I get a car that's reliable, dependable. I know I'm closing in on 200,000 miles on my Lexus. I got a GS 450 that I've had now for, 7-8 years, something along those lines. I keep my cars. And Lexus gives you that luxury and it gives you that dependability. LexusSantaMonica.com. Why is this a connection with me? This is where I bought my Lexus from. The GM and part owner over at that dealership, his name is Matt Unger. You've probably heard him when I was at 710 for years because there was a point where I started a relationship with Max Kellerman. And anyway, so this has been around for a long time. I've known Matt Unger for probably over 10 years now. If you're in the market for a car, let me just kind of help everybody here. Start with Matt Unger, because even if it's not a Lexus that you're getting, he can help you. He knows everybody out here, and he can help anybody from literally any part of the country, or at least I know in the state of California. But he can 100% just educate you and try to help you in the direction that you should go. Should you get a new car? Should you get something pre-owned? Should you lease it? Should you buy it? They have a lot across the street that sells pre-owned Lexus certified. They also own, or they also sell other cars as well. That's across the street as well. But I just wanted to kind of make a quick introduction. Lexus Santa Monica is in. They're a partner of the channel. They're a partner of the show. It's a very, very genuine partnership because of my relationship and the fact that I drive a Lexus from LexusSantaMonica.com. That to me is the beauty in partnerships. We try to do things that make sense, that are real. We're not trying to BS anybody on here. The Wallace firm is real deal. Lexus Santa Monica is real deal. Obviously have Better Help. That's a partner as well. So we got a lot of great partners that are on here, and I want to welcome in Lexus Santa Monica. All right, let's keep things moving here. Let's get to a couple of comments, and then we'll call it a day. Let's see what everybody's got here. Let me read this here real quick too. Let's get this in the mix. I saw this. Yeah, I saw this yesterday or last night, but I also see it right now. Let's take a quick look at. I'll spend more time on this tomorrow. I don't want to waste it, but I will share my screen. Let me see here. If you guys all saw this, the Lakers and the Jazz have discussed a trade centered on Rui Hachimura and John Collins. Many within the Lakers organization believe Collins would be an especially great fit alongside Luka. Since their season ended, they've held a few conversations with the Utah Jazz trying to land the 27-year-old big man, with Rui Hachimura often the centerpiece of that deal. Okay, let me say this here real quick. I'm a fan of Rui. I like Rui Hachimura. I'm a fan of his game. I think Rui Hachimura is I definitely think Rui has found ways to be an asset with the Lakers, but I'm not married to Rui Hachimura. You got to go out there and you got to get whatever makes sense to kind of round up the rest of your roster right now. You got to go make it happen. And Collins, by the way, I mean, if you're looking at just numbers, played 40 games last year. He was with Utah. He's probably more known for his time when he was in Atlanta. Averaged 19 points and 8 rebounds last year. Now you're doing it obviously on a bad team. Shot almost 40% from the 3-point line. So certainly seems like a player that can help the Lakers. I like Rui, but I'm expecting that there's some trades that go down this summer and probably Rui included in it. I'm just going to assume just based off of what the Lakers need. So we'll see what happens in regards to that and go from there. All right. I think that's all I got for today, everybody. I know we could probably go a lot longer, but I want to I just want to hit on some topics that I know I want to spend some time on tomorrow as well, and we can kind of take our time on it. I appreciate everybody hanging out today. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Sammy Long. Thank you, as I mentioned, to the Wallace firm and Lexus Santa Monica. Back on tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. NBA Finals could be over by then. I am planning on going live after the game tonight. That is my current plan unless something changes. So we'll take it from there. Shout out to everybody as well that's given some love to Lexus, just basically, obviously, with the new partnership. So I appreciate you guys doing that. Thank you, everybody. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And we'll catch up with you guys tomorrow morning.